Okay, here we go. I think we're live. I think we're in it. All right, there we go, guys. Good morning. Happy April Fool's Day. I don't really have any pranks for you guys. I've never been much for April Fool's pranks. There's a reason for that. My mom could tell you. She traumatized me one time when I was in elementary school with the April Fool's prank gone wrong. But you know what you did. Anywho, all right. Well, welcome. If you are joining us for the first time, we have been building a desk, or at least the base part of a desk. These things take some time. I mean, it's not like they're all going to be done in an hour or anything, but slowly but surely making some progress on this thing. So I'm just getting a few things set up. It's kind of funny. I'm a little off my routine because we had been starting this at noon the last couple days, which was kind of nice. And then I woke up this morning. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I said I was going to do this at 9, but it's good. I've got other things that I have to do today. So if we do a little stream, depending on what needs to get done, we'll spend some time on it, and then we'll see where we need to go from there. So, okay. I got my hydrate today. Make sure you guys are hydrating. And I got since it's early in the morning, coffee. Yeah, I guess if you're on the East Coast, it's noon for you. In which case, we're streaming at noon. But this is California. We're a little slower over here. Yeah, and I got my. Oh, where is that? There we go. Big video game day today. I'm gonna try and do some streaming tonight. Rust has a Force Fight today, so some new content, I think, and some Twitch streamer drops. So I think I can enable streamer drops on my Twitch channel, but I'll try and get that going. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stream a little Rust tonight. I got some folks I might try and play with. We'll see. They're on the other side of the country, so they might be asleep by the time that I'm able to get on and start playing, but we'll see. Anyway, that's where this shirt's from Shadow Frax's channel. He always says subject to change in his videos when he presents things. So. And I like this shirt. I just like the shirt. It's a favorite. It really captures the sentiment of most of my projects as I'm building them, as I'm planning them out. And then I start building them, and I see what I'm thinking and how that's going wrong, and then just everything becomes subject to change. Really take that to heart. Okay. Checking on some stream health. Here we go. Okay. It is a beautiful day today. Weather's supposed to start warming up a little bit, and by warming up I mean like 85 or something, 86, which is, it's a little warm. Maybe not for April, but it's been pretty cool a lot lately. It hasn't really. I think yesterday it got into the 80s maybe, and that's the first time it's gotten in the 80s in quite a long time over here. But yeah, it's definitely middle of spring here. So yesterday, kids did a lot of planting and gardening with Mama, and backyard's starting to look kind of nice. So making some progress. Alrighty. If you're hanging out in chat, don't forget to say good morning or drop a hello or something. Let me know you're here. Let me know what's up, what's good. And we'll go ahead and get started. So a quick recap of where we're at. Let's remind ourselves where we are. We have this side right there. There's your to-do list. So on our to-do list right here, we have basically built out the bulk shape of this desk. We did a lot of pocket holes the last few days. Yesterday, we pretty much spent the entire stream making these frames. And the idea is that these frames are going to fit, one's going to fit just inside the top here, and the other's going to fit just a little bit inside where this part goes. And so for the top one, the whole point of that is just to provide a little extra support to keep the box together itself, and also more points of contact where I can attach up to the tabletop. And for some reason my camera's doing the thing where it pops up on the that little menu thing. So I'm gonna try and fiddle with the camera really quick, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But if I lose you guys, I'm sorry. I think I can come back if that does happen. All right. Make sure all my connections are solid here. You know, it wouldn't be me if tech wasn't messing up a little bit. Yeah, see, that's wanting to pop up. All right, probably gonna lose the feed for a second here. All right, I think what we're gonna do is do the old turn it off, turn it back on trick. I know you can still hear me at least. That's the beauty of the Canon M50 not really being set up as a streaming camera. And of course, I think having my interrupting my OBS there is probably gonna mess things up. Hey, laundry person.
Hey, I feel like the mail carrier in some of those kids shows. You know, just shows up for a minute. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Well, here's the mail today.
Here's the mail today.
Looks like you got an extra special letter from the gas company.
Oh, there we go. Okay. But of course, for some reason, it's cropped down. Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, it does this from time to time. It wants to put little... It's cropping it down for some reason. And I'm not sure why.
You're just going to have to do your stream while you're doing squats.
Doing squats, yeah. No, thank you.
After a while, they're not so bad.
Yeah?
Not so bad. Still tough.
That's okay. Not too many people are watching. Well, maybe if they watch this on replay. Yeah, so that's doing like a little crop deal there. That is a little bit annoying. Let's try getting the menu back. try 30 frames per second. See, yeah, I've had that happen before where it just doesn't want to. It wants to crop it down for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why it does that. Obviously, still trying to figure out a lot of stuff here. Oh well, that's why we test things, right? All right, I'm gonna try to turn this off again. Unplug everything. And it's still doing that. Okay. Well, I don't like stuff like this. I don't like it where it works one way for 1 second and then doesn't work another way for the rest of the time. And it's really annoying because you'd think programmers would be able to figure out how to do things consistently, on account of it being their literal job. I mean, if I can do things consistently, and I know it's my camera output too. It's not the All right. Well, it's research time then. So, live view shoot. Live view, compose, face detection. No, I don't want that. Yeah, for some reason it wants to crop in. Yeah, problem is it's all like crop factor. That's all you get hits on for research. Let's take that part out. See, this should not bother me. This should just be like, I can figure this out. Like, there's an easy way to fix this, right? And that easy way should be to basically just make the picture bigger and then stop fussing about it. Yeah, so it's It's something to do with that output, and I'm not sure why. It's just really annoying. Oh, that's why that... So that pops up when I have... Oh, that's interesting. So I have my mouse over my control thing. All right, well, I'll have to cut that out of the live stream, but I know it's cropping things unnecessarily, which is super annoying, super obnoxious. I don't like stuff like that. I wish that it would just, do its job. But here's what we can do. We can just take our OBS feed and bring that up like that. That'll have to be good enough. Subject to change, right? We got to make it work. I'll have to crop that out of the live feed because that's. I'm sorry, guys. That's like super boring for all that, but oh well. That's kind of how it goes sometimes. Okay. Well, let's get back to the action here. I know that's what you guys came here for. So we have these frames. Where to put them? Right here, and they need to get into here. So last time we had. We're looking at it, and we had some spots that were going to be a little bit tight. So I'm going to get some tools here and try to make them fit just right. All right. So this here's my low angle block plane. It's one of these guys. And this is going to help me shave off a little bit of these frames. But first, let's grab a pencil. Coffee before it gets cold. All right. I'm also going to take the corners off too so that nothing gets hung up on like a stray piece of glue on the inside. Basically just kind of rounding the corners a little bit. Parts that are sticking out that if I didn't align things absolutely perfectly when I glued it together, which happens. You know, I wasn't trying to be too precise with it. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do a little tutorial on sharpening, because it really helps having a sharp blade on anything you're trying to cut with. I know that seems kind of obvious, but yeah, of course you need a sharp blade. But a lot of people, they just try and they pick up a tool and it's like, okay, well, I'm ready to go, and they just start working with it, myself included. You just start working with it, and then you struggle with it, and you're unsafe. You start pushing too hard, and then accidents happen. All of them. This side to do. I knew I was missing one. I'm just working with this, and you know, this is actually going to be a really good height for me. Like I'm just kind of working right here, and actually once I get the workbench on top, it's probably going to be about this height, maybe slightly, yeah, about this height or so. So being able to work at this level, which comes into line about mid hip, right here. That's a really good level to work at for most people, for like hand plane work and chisels. If you put your hands on it, your hands aren't going flat straight down. It's kind of like sizing a bicycle for yourself. You know, you kind of sit on the seat and you want to be able to touch your toes to the ground. Well, with a good workbench, and everybody's preferences are different, obviously. But for me, if you can put your hands kind of flat on it without locking your hands straight, but just having a little bit of bend to your hands, that's a good height, because for anything that you have on your workbench that you're working on, so from here to here, you know, that bend in your arm is enough that you can get some power behind it, but not so much that, you know, like if you're working up here on something that gets tiring pretty quickly. Plus, if you need to get down lower, you can take a wider stance and get down on something, get a little more power if you're doing like hand planing or chisel work or something. So, yeah, this is going to be a good height. Just gonna soften the tops a little bit, so when I put this in, it won't catch on a corner. can kind of slide in a little angle in. The same thing on the other side, just in case I need to flip it. This, if you've never seen one of these before, basically takes off little shavings of wood. Really good for corners. I mean, you can use it for other things other than just corners. It's good for squaring up ends. I'm just kind of doing it by eye, but also, you know, chamfering corners, rounding corners. Sometimes that can be really useful. You know, the corners are really what causes tight fits to hang up. This is going to be a really tight fit, so you can use a block plane to take off little bits of shavings without, you know, if you put this on the table saw and you go too far, you try and cut it and you cut too much. It's really easy to cut too much, and then your thing doesn't fit anymore because you took too much off. So hand planes are really great for just taking small amounts. You know, you use your machines to get close, and then the hand tools to really fine tune it to where it needs to be ultimately. All right. I want to say, it's really supposed to go this way, maybe. Yeah, I think. We are a little bit out of square on one of these, either the box or the frame going in there. When it gets to a certain point, it's really close, I'm just going to do the old hit it with a hammer. And that should take care of it for the most part. Okay, it's fitting in on this side. This part right here is going to need a little bit of encouragement. That's okay. What I think I'm going to do is take a little bit off in here if I can. Well, that fits. Fits that way. Knots are hard to plane, especially pine knots. Okay. So we'll nice thing is I don't have to worry about it being super clean and professional, because this is just going to go up against a piece of wood and no one's ever going to see it. Just took a little bit off of that side. When I encourage it to go in here, you'll have a little easier time of doing so. I want to say it's supposed to go this way, I think, or the other way. I can never remember these things. Yeah, this way. Had it right the first time. Okay. So, let's see. Before I hammer this in, I just want to check a few things, sizes of screws and stuff. So once this goes in, it's going to go in really tight. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to use pocket I'm not going to use pocket holes in here, but I am going to put some screws in some. I'm going to use my pocket screws because these are actually the correct length of what I need. Unless, you know what, let me see if I have any non-pocket screws, but I may just end up using pocket screws. Let's see here. 1 5/8 is going to be too long. Okay. So those pocket screws are 1 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to use those to kind of hold it in place. I'm going to put some glue on here, and then I'm going to use those screws to hold it in place, basically while the glue dries, and provide a little extra support. The glue, honestly, is going to it's just going to make this into one solid piece. And that's going to help keep this box nice and solid. How many times can I say solid? All right, but we should hydrate, though. Hydrate, everybody. Just checking on the stream health here. Oh, okay. So it's just me now. That's fine. Yeah, it didn't help that little camera snafu earlier. Oh well, ski. All right. So let's get our glue. Peel off all the crud on here. And get my glue brush. Make things a little cleaner here. Alrighty. Move this up so you guys can see what's actually going on here. Yep. Not going to put too much glue on here because it's just going to end up sort of scraping out when I hammer this in here. Mind getting a little extra glue on parts of my project. That's not a big deal. Need some more glue soon. Okay. Let's see. How to go that way? No, how to go this way. I think. Yeah, alright. Now for a little encouragement. This is where I hope I can actually hammer this in here. Because if I can. A little bit of wood split off. Oh well. If it's too tight, it can actually break the box apart, which is not something I want to happen. But we appear to be in good shape. Oh man, I don't even know if I'm going to need to put. I will need to put some screws in here because we get a little flex on some of these. They can get tightened in. So yeah, probably just 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in there just to keep it all lined up while it dries. In fact, what I'll do is I'll grab some clamps to assist with that. Little glue squeeze out here. Not a problem. Except when I get it on my pants. Push that down a little bit. Yeah, it's going to want to pop up a little bit. I may just have to put a screw in there and call it good. All right, well, that's why we have screws. Drill, need a drill. All right. Get about 4 screws in here, and then I think I'll be happy with that. Okay. This one's pretty well lined up here. What's nice is the length of these screws. They are such that they're not going to stick out the other side. I think I might actually need screws in all of these. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I have the screws. Not a big deal. But I do want to clamp these together because just the way the threads are going on here, I want to make sure that there is no gap that's going to form between these two pieces and be held apart by the threads. Which is possible if I don't clamp it down. Do some extras on these sides too. So we'll just have 3 on each side. Might be unnecessary, but it's going to make me feel better. I'm going to know that this is all just tied together. Solid, not going anywhere. All right, I think I got everything. It's pretty good. This over here. Okay, that is secure, and I can already feel like it just makes the top feel much sturdier. Ooh, we got someone in chat. Who dat? Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff to do today, but I'm looking forward to wipe. I won't be able to start right when it goes, but Probably later this afternoon or early evening for me. You're East Coast, right, Joe? All right. Before I play with my hair, I need to make sure I don't have wet glue in my hands. I mean, glue will come out of your hair because your hair is oily and glue won't stick to that, but it's still going to be annoying. At least it's not primer. Primer sucks. Getting that in your hair. All right. I just kind of want to make sure that this top side is... I got a little extra glue on the top here. I just want to make sure that it's kind of tacked up a bit because I got a bunch of sawdust on my floor. I'm going to flip this over and do the other side, but I don't really want to glue a bunch of sawdust to this. You know what? I can prop it up with some pieces of wood. That'll work. Some extra plywood here. Yeah, I know wipes usually happen 11 my time, which is Pacific. So that would be 2 p.m. Eastern usually is when force wipes happen. But I haven't, like I said the other day, I haven't played in 2 months. I have not played the train update at all. So that's going to be interesting. We should do a trap base or something. I don't know. Seems appropriate for April Fool's Day. All right. Put that off to the side there. I can just use some of my scraps from earlier. This is just because I got wet glue on the top, and I got a bunch of sawdust on the floor. I don't really want to have to... clean up a bunch of glued down sawdust. That's pretty good. That's starting to come along, guys. I'm getting really happy about this. It's a good project. Yeah. Do we know what kind of server we want to play? Are we gonna play together? We should. We could do vanilla or lightly modded. I don't know. I started playing vanilla and it's so much fun. Vanilla is just, I don't know. It's a slower pace, but you can still make some plays. Like not everyone's rushing to end game as fast, but you can still make a lot of progress. All right. Don't forget to hydrate. Hydrate time, everybody. Alrighty. Okay. Second part of this frame. Let's get back to making this fit. See which way it fits best. Probably not that way. Probably that way. Alright, so we are a little bit extra tight on one side. Again, not that big a deal. That is definitely fixable. Push that side in. Okay. I'm just pushing everything into the corners and seeing kind of where I'm at. It's kind of the same story as the last one. I'm going to have to take it down in a few spots. But honestly, I would rather do it this way than try and cut it perfect and then have everything fit too loose, and then I have to put shims in and try and fix that stuff. How warm is it over here? It's this week is the hottest it's been in a while, and it's just finally gotten to the 80s, like Monday and Tuesday. Today's supposed to be like 85, 86. And yeah, it's starting to warm up a little bit. Springtime. Yeah, California weather, man. People are like, "Oh, California's so expensive. It's too expensive." Yeah, it's also a beautiful place to live. My wife is always like, I love snow, but I would never want to shovel it. Let someone else shovel it. Yeah, Joe, what state are you in? I forget. You're in what, Massachusetts or something? I gotta say, I know even though there's only like one or two people pop through here, I really like doing these live things. It feels good. Gets me thinking about my teaching practices. What's going to be interesting for people. Both teaching and streaming, keeping the conversation going, not having too much dead space. I had kind of that little snafu earlier with the camera not wanting to behave. And I've certainly had issues like that before in the classroom. I remember one time when I was just first learning to teach, my first assignment. Oh yeah, Pennsylvania, okay. Yeah, my brother lives out there. Anyway, one of my first assignments when I was a student teacher was in a middle school, and I was the projector. We were supposed to do something on a projector, and the projector bulb burnt out. That one, not the nice digital projectors, but like the old timey ones with the big hot light bulb in it that would burn your skin if you touched it. We're supposed to be doing on that projector, and the projector bulb burnt out. And so we're fixing it, and my class is going crazy. My mentor teacher, Jamie Shilen, good guy, still a good guy. So he's in there trying to fix it, and I'm like, I'm this young new teacher. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm like, what should I? The class is going crazy, and I asked him because he's trying to fix this projector. I asked him, what should I be doing right now? And he just looked at me with this stern face, like, come on, get it together. He's just like, get control of your class. And I was like, okay. And I turned to the class. All right, class, look at me. And we just went from there. I don't even remember how I got control of them. I started talking at them, telling them a story or something. Because they were going cuckoo bananas at the time. But tricky because I've got these cutouts here, so I gotta say, Zoom teaching, distance learning, it's a lot easier in some respects. I know for some kids, not all kids, but for some kids, it's easier because you just don't have the same level of in-class distractions like you do in regular school. With you get all the kids messing around and throwing stuff and not paying attention, and it's physically distracting. And I know some kids, they're thriving in this because now they can actually focus on the content. Of course, that requires them to be able to independently work, and not everyone can do that. some people get distracted easily by their peers, but also can't stay focused in general on a task, and they're not doing very well right now. But there's a lot of kids who are thriving quite nicely, and students that I have, they're like, yeah, I really don't mind this. This is nice because they work quickly. They can work independently. They can get their stuff done pretty quickly, and they're not hung up on all their peers, their classmates who are wanting to goof off and distract the teacher, and the teacher having to get distracted and off track and waste a bunch of time, and they can just kind of move on with the lessons and then go about their day. And for those kids, those kids are really going to be successful in life because they're able to get stuff done independently. They're able to sort of work on their own and get stuff done quickly. That's important. Teamwork is important too, but I feel especially for this sort of culture of independent side hustles that we kind of have been cultivating the last few decades, that's really the kind of attitude you need, is to be able to just sit down and focus on something without getting distracted by a bunch of idiots running around. But for every person like that, there's another person who learns completely differently and is not thriving in this setup. So that's the real challenge of education, isn't figuring out how to teach people. Teaching's easy. Teaching a bunch of different people with different needs, that's the hard part. Like any single person, if you're just coaching 1 or 2 or 3 people, you can easily figure out what their needs are. You can figure out where they're coming from, what their challenges are, what their personal hangups are. You can figure that out really quick. But in this sort of mass market education, this public education business that we're in, it's a little bit different because I got maladjusted. Is that my adjustment? No, it's the wrong adjustment. In this sort of public education sphere that I exist in, you have a lot of students per teacher. And even in my shop, we have relatively few. Like I have 24 to 28, which is really low for most classes. But, for a shop, you have to have fewer people, to conform to safety standards. And, you can only have so many people per, in an amount of space before, OSHA's going to step in and be like, no, you can't do that. Understandably. But, when you start getting 20, 30 kids in a room and then multiply that by 5 or 6 or however many classes you teach, you're looking at 120, 130, 150 kids. Are you really going to be able to give them an individualized assessment and a personal education? No, you end up spending all your time focused on the kids who are further behind, and then the kids who kind of work independently, it's like, all right, well, you're smart, you figure it out. You do this thing, and you don't get to spend enough time with the kids who are succeeding. And they'll be okay. They'll do all right. But how much further could they get if they actually were able to have, a little bit more, maybe not one-on-one attention, but smaller group attention to really tease out their skills. And I was one of those kids in high school where I got good grades. I did well on tests. I was really good at playing the system, playing my teachers so that, I would do the minimum amount of work and get the maximum amount of grade benefit because I was lazy, But I was smart. I was able to skate by all through high school and get into college. And when I got into college, it was kind of a wake-up call. It was like, oh, man, this is actually difficult. The coursework itself is difficult. I wasn't a dumb kid, but I was still lazy. I wouldn't study. I wouldn't go to class. And I spent, every other semester on academic probation because I just didn't have the attitude to learn until, like my third and fourth year was when I was like, yeah, you know what? I really need to finish this up and start taking it serious. And I started getting my major and taking classes I was actually interested in, instead of just, trying to find the next party or something. Well, still trying to find the next party, but... I just remember being so bored in class because I would have understood a concept if the teacher presented a concept. For the most part, I would understand it just like that. And I'd be sitting there for 20, 30 minutes while the teacher explains the same thing 3 or 5 different ways. And then, the kids in the back like, oh, I don't get it. Can you read it again? I don't understand. I'm just sitting there like, because if I spoke up and I was like, guys, why don't you understand this? I would be a target. And I didn't want to be. It's high school, right? And I didn't want to draw attention to myself any more than necessary. But I'd sit there bored for half the class because the teacher would be re-explaining the same thing over and over again. And now that I'm a teacher, I end up re-explaining the same thing over and over again. And I see the eyes of the kids who, are with me, or at least were with me, who understand this stuff, start to glaze over. That's my cue to be like, all right, guys, we're just going to move on. And you guys, well, you'll pick it up as you go. If you're behind, you'll pick it up as you go. And then some kids end up just getting left behind because either they don't want to do the work or they're not, I hate to say it, they're just not cut out for it. But that's the thing. We try so hard to make every kid conform to a certain education standard. And I'm talking about every kid going to college. That is a single education standard that does not work for every single person. It works for a lot of people, but it's not the only path to success. And yet our graduation requirements, for high school, at least in California, are basically aligned lockstep with what the colleges want for entry. Because 20 years ago, the colleges and the regents, the shareholders of the colleges in the state of California basically were like, hey, if we make it so that every kid is going to college, then we get more money. So let's make it so that the high schools are going to send more kids our way to college, and then we'll get richer. It's a huge racket. Yeah, education's important, but the way that they've gone about, really creating this high school to college pipeline for everybody, not just the kids who need it or want it, but creating this real culture. We'll just say Disney does the same thing, right? Funneling generations of people and getting them, hooked on this idea that, hey, this is the magic. This is the thing. You want this. You like this as a kid. You want this for your kids, right? This is the only way. This is the only thing. And it's the fact that we do this with public, the difference is Disney's a private corporation, and you can choose not to patronize that. You can't choose not to go to school. Not to go to high school. You have to. And it would be one thing if it was like the colleges said, okay, well, here's the requirements that we want to make sure that everybody, if you want to go to college, you're going to need to have these standards. And then people are like, all right, well, that's fine. I'm not going to college, or I'm not going to a 4-year university. So I'm just going to focus on my thing. And that would be cool. And if we operated like that, that would be no problem. Colleges would get what they want, and students would get what they need. But it's not like that. We have a huge racket where, I mean, these are public colleges, public schools, ostensibly. That's in name only. But they've got donors. They've got boards. They've got school boards. They've got people who benefit from increased enrollments and increased activity, benefit financially from it. And so, of course, they don't have a responsibility to, the education, as aside from, just maintaining a certain base level of reputation. They don't have a responsibility to their students for providing, anything beyond tuition, or not providing tuition, beyond providing, the school and the reputation. But the main purpose, the way I see it, is that they want to try and get more people, more bodies, tuition-paying bodies. And it doesn't matter whether you're paying tuition or you're doing government assistance. Yeah. It doesn't matter who's paying for it, whether it's government or government assistance, or your parents paying for tuition or whatever. They don't care. They're getting their tuition dollars. And honestly, that's fine. It doesn't matter who pays for it. Honestly, I think if you want to go to college, if that's what you want in your pathway and you can't afford it, I have no problem with my tax dollars paying for you. It's just like if Mr. Beast sees somebody in need who's like, hey, you've got a lot of potential. Like he's doing his thing for up and coming YouTubers. I'm not involved in this in any way, but he's doing his thing where he's like, hey, you got potential. You just need the resources. Here you go. I'll be your angel investor. I'll be your person to come in and help you realize your potential. I have no problem with that. If you're like, hey, I want to be a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or even an art historian, we need people like that. If that's your dream, if your dream is to go to college so you can do that thing, I have no problem in supporting you, with my tax dollars. That's perfectly fine. What I don't like seeing is kids being told over and over again that you just have to go to college. Well, what do you want to go to college for? I don't know. I was just told I have to go to college. That's the trap that I fell into, right? I don't like seeing that. I want to see kids being exposed to more options. Trade schools, apprenticeship programs, taking business classes in high school. So, hey, you want to, you got some seed money from some family, you want to start a business? Well, okay, here's how you can do that. And that's the thing too, is you don't have to go to college right out of high school either. You don't, right? There is a huge industry built around late 20-year-olds, early 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds taking night classes, weekend classes. People do it all the time. Tons of people, they go to college later on in life. Yeah. Well, we can change it. Just speaking from California, the voters, if the voters were like, hey, this is kind of a racket. Nice thing is we've got the referendum process. It's kind of a pain most of the time. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of the people having direct elections for legislation. I think that's why we hire legislators in the first place. And I think generally, the public tends to be kind of on the stupid side when it comes to mob mentality. And that's why we have representatives to kind of cut through the noise and be like, all right, I know you're mad, but we need to think about things. But it is possible, you have, and it's possible to do it without tearing down institutions. I know I keep ragging on colleges and, how it's a big racket, and not the whole thing's not a racket. It's important. Education is important. I do believe in it. But it's possible to do it without tearing down the schools, and being like, okay, well, colleges is worthless, because it's not worthless, Really, it's more about bringing up, because I can sit here and say, oh yeah, college is bad because X, Y, and Z, but the question y'all should be asking yourself next is, okay, well, what's the alternative, right? If I'm not, all right, let's say I agree with you, Lauer. What's the alternative? You say that college isn't maybe for me, and I might believe that, okay? Maybe I don't want to go to college, okay? Well, what are my other options, okay? That's the question that you should be asking, not, hey, let's get rid of the colleges because I'm not going to go there, because it does work for some people, but what are my other options? What can I do other than go to college? And I think there are actually some really great programs that are starting to come out now. It's the timing's everything. The timing has been kind of right for the last, decade or so. Like Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy, he's got his Micro Works program, getting kids into the trades, into apprenticeship programs, working with their hands, because that is actually a very lucrative field nowadays. You can get into the trades, you can be college smart, sure, but if you don't like book work and stuff and research and academic things, you're not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be something that you want to do. And you can make very lucrative money in the trades. Carpenters, electricians, plumbers. You can work anywhere you want in the country, even outside of the country, honestly. Good pay, good benefits if you're part of a union. Let's not forget that, hey, let's say you decide later you do, in fact, want to go into, maybe you want to start a business, you want to take some business classes or something, or, hey, maybe you're in line for promotion, but they need a degree. Well, hey, you can go back to school. Nights and weekends doesn't interrupt your schedule. You're still making money. You're still earning, right? You can always go back to school. There's always going to be someone with more money. Doesn't mean that they have to have power. Money is power, sure, but it doesn't mean that they have to have power over you. I mean, just because they've got money, yeah, maybe they have power, but you've got your own power, you've got your own agency, and if you got everyone telling you, hey, doesn't matter what you do, you just got to go to college, and you can't for the life of you think of a good reason why you want to go to college, what you want to get out of college, like what degree are you aiming for, okay? Maybe you won't achieve that degree, maybe you'll change your path, sure, but if you can't, going into college, specifically think that, hey, I want to get this degree. I'm going to college because I want to be a veterinarian, or I want to be an engineer, or I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a lawyer, Yeah, like you can change your mind partway through, but if going into college you cannot answer that question, hey, I want to get this specific degree, or I want to at least start working on this pathway, then you got to really ask yourself if this is the right pathway for you. That's all I'm trying to say. Life lessons with Lauer. Should start a whole podcast on that. Man, the amount of ranting I do in my kids, my students love it when I go on rants like this because they know they don't have to work. They're just like, okay, we're just going to sit back and agree with everything Lauer says because, at least we don't have to get any work done today. And they've done that before. Oh, well. All right. Don't forget to hydrate, guys. Hydrating is important. Yep. Okay. Making some progress on this thing. Slow progress, but that's okay. That's all good. All right. Let's see where we're fitting here. If this is the right. I think this is the right direction. It's going to be. All right, we're still looking at a pretty tight fit in the spots I think I want to take down this side. And how are we fitting? Oh yeah, we're fitting really good on here, front to back. Yeah, I think I just need to take down. Yeah, this side and a little bit of this side. There it is. That's why I shouldn't put things on stools. I am so looking forward to having a workbench, so I don't have to set things on stools. I hate setting things on stools because it always falls over. And I never learned my lesson. Never, ever. I don't need to take off so much in the middle because the middle bends a little bit. It's the corners that are going to be tight. So nice when I have this workbench. Oh man, I'm so looking forward to this. I love it when I can just get excited about a project and just get this workbench finished, and then I can go on to making things. So going at kind of with these block planes, if you just push straight, you're putting a lot of force straight on it. If you actually turn it to the side a little bit and hold it diagonally and then run it diagonally, it can sort of shear at sort of like a diagonal, which makes it cut a little easier. So sometimes I just kind of change up. If I'm not getting a lot of cuts in one direction, I'll change the angle. The way that I'm holding it, and oftentimes that'll make it work a little better. Do this side. And if you're sitting here thinking like, man, he's been doing this is day 4 now, and he's going 2 hours a day, and he's only got that much stuff done. Well, yeah, first of all, taking my time. Second of all, it's therapeutic. It's fun. It's exercise. These things, man, they get your forearms all bulky. I always had a problem with lifting weights. I mean, not a problem, but like going to a gym. Like I've been to gyms before, and it was always it was fine. Nice people, fun times. It's good when you go with somebody. When you just go by yourself, it's just so boring. But yeah, sitting there lifting weights, it's just so boring to me. It's like you're just sitting there lifting something heavy. Like, I would much rather be doing something where I can look back and be like, oh yeah, I made something, I built something, I did that thing. Oh yeah, and also, I'm freaking ripped. Yeah, that's a good feeling. I should do more work. You know? But that's not me. Hydrate. All right, let's see how we're fitting here. Is this the right way? Yeah, that's in there a little bit easier. This side will fit just fine. That side will fit. Yep. Just, okay. I'm pretty confident that that's where it needs to be. Okay, I'm running out of glue. Man, I'm gonna have to buy some more. This one's going to be kind of tricky because it's not going to go right inside. I'm actually going to have to bump it down to this level down here. And that's going to be, I realize as I'm putting glue on here, a lot of this glue is going to scrape off. Not all of it, of course, but some of it will. Hey, guys. Okay, that's quite all right. I don't mind. Did some video editing yesterday. Lily and I, we over the weekend we put together a little birdhouse, just from a kit. But I was like, "Hey, do you want to?" She asked me if we could put together the birdhouse. I was like, "Yeah, we could do that. Do you want to shoot a video about putting it together?" She loves the kid. Both of the kids love that I do these videos. And she's like, yeah. And so I kind of hung back, and she actually is the video host. It's really cute. So I got most of the rough editing done last night. And so I have some B-roll I need to throw in there, and do like some of the finer editing, finished editing. You know what they call it, rough cuts and then final cut. Is that what it is? Anyway, but yeah, this one is I'm not gonna put too much into the video. I'm just kind of keeping it a little simpler and more basic in terms of, you know, like video quality and transitions and like all the fancy stuff. I'm not going to get too crazy with it. So that's the thing. I can spend a long time just putting a ton of effort into videos, which, it's worth it. But, like, my pot rack video, the second one, it got like 50 views or something. And I'm like, how much effort am I going to put into that for 50 views? I mean, that's not really the right attitude to have. Hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
What's up?
Not too much. Just watching you glue.
Watching me glue.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see.
Oh, you need to see? Is there another way to say?
See.
Is there another way to say see? Watch, look. Hey, buddy.
Dude,
Hey, dude. What's up?
are you almost finished? Are you almost finished with that workbench?
I still got a little more work to do, but it would probably go faster if I had some helpers in here.
Oh, do you want to help your daddy today? Sure you do. You love helping daddy. We'll be there shortly. We got to jump on the stepstones first.
Oh, of course. Priorities.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Okay.
Okay.
Just got to figure out which way it's supposed to go.
You need to draw like a little this end up.
Yeah, I should, yeah. I mean, if I was actually making this as straight as it's supposed to be, then I wouldn't have this problem. But that's okay. I don't mind.
I believe in you.
I believe. I believe in glue. Okay, that's about what it needs to be. Hammer time.
Okay, let's go inside. Let's see.
Both sides in. There. All right, that's gonna go in. Okay, so like I said, I actually have to pop this down to be in line with the tops of these brackets. Not brackets, cutouts. That's the word I was looking for. Hey, that's looking pretty good, guys. That is looking pretty good, guys. Let's go, boys and girls. Let's go. Yeah. I like that. I like that quite a bit. It's exactly what I wanted. Exactly. Man, how often does it just come together perfect? Big old W in chat. I don't even know if there's anybody in here to give me a W, but I can do that myself. All right. Woo! That's how we do it, guys. That is how we get that in. That is a nice, solid piece. All right, so let's get some screws in here. Tie this in so it doesn't move. That glue can do its job. just going to go ahead and clamp all this down to start. Got to remember to put my clamps going the other way so I don't bump into these. I always forget. Although it is easier to grip them the other way. Okay. All right. Screws over here. There we go. And we're just going to do the same number of screws, 3 on each side. Yeah, I just felt that was a better, as more solid. A better option. I mean, shoot. Once this is done, I bet I could just put a piece of plywood on top of here tonight and stream out here. Ooh, that might be fun. I mean, I know the desk won't be finished, but it'll be pretty close. Oh, hey, I did get a W chat. Oh, thanks, Joe. Joe, I forget which one you are. You BP or GRI? Sorry for not remembering. That's why I don't put those on the inside, is because they get in the way of my drill. Ah, BP. So BP, I've been collecting the corrupted skin set. I pretty much have all of them. I've got the sheet door, the garage door. They did the metal kit, the full metal kit, or I mean the HQM face mask, and then the gloves. That one's a pretty good one. I like that skin. Okay. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like when you add up the time that I spent this week on this, on Monday we kind of burnt an hour. Yeah, I usually burn like the first half hour or so of streams, but oh man, we probably spent, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours or so on this. Maybe 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, seems like a lot of time, but then again, you kind of have to put everything in comparison in terms of what you spend your time on. If this took 6 hours, well, can you sit and play a video game for 6 hours straight, like into the night? Yes, of course you could, right? And what do you have to show for that? Is that more or less impressive than something that you can spend 6 hours making? In terms of woodworking, and especially with the video game, when you're done with the game, unless you're making content out of it, which is a different story entirely, and you're going to have to spend more time to produce that content. What's going to be left of that when it's done? And I've spent a lot of time. This has been kind of like a personal, call it an existential crisis, really. I spent one of the reasons why I decided to start getting into YouTube and streaming and stuff in the first place is because I'm 36 years old, and I realized that I've spent almost 30 of those years, playing video games, doing fun things, enjoying myself, but looking back and being like, well, what do I have to show for it? Making artwork, stuff like that. And okay, I've got a certain set of skills and abilities and stuff, but like in terms of if someone asked me, like for a job interview, and they were like, okay, well, show us some of your previous work, show us some of the stuff I don't have a lot of documentation of the things that I've done. I've spent hours on Xbox 360 playing Minecraft on Xbox 360 back in the day. Spent hours upon hours doing that. I have thousands of hours logged in Smash Bros. I have a couple thousand hours logged in playing Rust. And if someone was to be like, "Oh yeah, what do you have to show for that? Can you show me some of the stuff you've done?" I don't have anything. I don't have anything to point to. And so even some of the things that I've built and artwork that I've made and stuff that I've painted, I started taking pictures of some of it, but there's so much that I've done that is just lost and undocumented. And it's kind of, I think partly what triggered that was last year we did a major clean out when COVID hit and, the school shut down and everything. And we were suddenly like at home all the time. We did this major spring clean out about almost exactly a year ago. And I'm not buying the big grin. $600? No, thank you. No, thank you. I did actually win I won the royal door skin from Shaping. He did a giveaway contest, and I won the royal door skin, which was pretty cool. I haven't got to deploy it yet because I haven't played in 2 months, but we may have to use those today because it's pretty sick. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so what triggered that was we did a big clean out almost a year ago, and after my dad passed away a couple years ago, last year, my mom started packing up and getting ready to sell the house and move on with her life, which she's since moved on. She moved out and bought a house out in Pennsylvania to be with my brother and his wife and their new baby, her new year old now, her grandbaby. And so anyway, she's cleaning out the house, and one of the things that I just kind of left there and never got back was all my old video game consoles and games, and NES, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and a bunch of games, and just I ended up taking it down to they weren't technically open because of COVID, but they were like, okay, yeah, we can squeeze you in for a one-off appointment. I took it down to the local game store, Phoenix Games in Concord, and I've been there for a few Smash Brothers tournaments, not too, maybe about a year prior, but I really liked their vibe. I liked that it was a small time game store. Not that I don't like GameStop. I like GameStop as a store. That's also a good business. But I was like, you know what? I don't need the money. I mean, it would be nice to get a little something from it, but I had these couple of boxes of just old games and consoles and stuff, and I was like, I don't really need the money. I'm good on that avenue, but I don't want to throw these away. I don't want to have to go through the what's it called, the trouble, the work, really, of listing all these for sale on eBay, doing it myself. I was like, I would rather take this whole bundle down to the local game store. Whatever you want to give me for it, great. I know I'm not going to get a lot for it, but hey, there's a couple of gems in there. I have my original Earthbound cartridge with the strategy guide and the box and all that stuff. A little banged up, but still good. Original Earthbound. I had my original Final Fantasy 1 on Nintendo cartridge with the box. I wrote all over the map, but still there. So I know there were some gems in there, and I was like, well, if this store can earn a little profit off of that and keep going, then that's good enough for me. So that's what I did. But when I went down there, I ended up getting like 100. They offered me like 120 or 140 or something. I think 120. I ended up picking up a NES amiibo, which were really hard to find because you could get the Lucas ones for Smash Bros. But I really wanted a NES one because I really liked Earthbound. That's one of my favorite games of all time, which I have on I was like, I have most of these games on emulator. Any of the ones that I ever want to play again, Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, any of that stuff. I can play these games if I want to. In fact, I might stream some pretty soon because I'm kind of itching to play some of those games again. But yeah, I sold that box, and I was walking out of there, and I was just like, you know what? I just got rid of 25 years of my life, basically. Between that and I made a few dump runs, I got rid of some old artwork that I'd painted, 10 years ago, and just been sitting in the garage collecting dust and stuff. And I got rid of all that. So I got rid of 30 years of my life, basically last year. And it made me, I was looking at it, I was like, first of all, 30 years of my life is fitting in 2 boxes, or, 2 boxes in a pickup truck. I can do better than that. I just didn't have a lot of documentation. And I was like, the things that I make, I need to do a better job of, just getting it out there. Even if it's not like a finished, complete framed piece of artwork, just Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, whatever I'm doing. Like if I'm doing something, then I need to just be kind of showing it off. Like just getting it out there. Because one day I'm not going to be here anymore. And that's just a fact. That's a fact that we all have to face. And, it would be nice. I mean, it's not necessary for my happiness, but it sure would be nice if, my kids or my grandkids could, point to something and be like, hey, that was Grandpa Hunter. This is what he did. Hey, look, here's some old videos of when he was young in his 30s. It's just leaving behind a little bit of a legacy, and maybe it won't mean anything, in a generation or two. Maybe none of it will mean anything. But at least I'll know that, I have something where if someone asks me, hey, what have you been working on? I can be like, this is what I've been working all of this over all this time. So that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing, at least for now. And if I can inspire anyone along the way, if I can get anyone on board with building stuff, or kind of coming along for the ride and enjoying life the way that I enjoy life, all the better. I mean, all the better. All right, let's get this flipped over. I think what time? 1:46. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. I see we got a lot of folks. We got like 4 people in here. Feel free to type up in chat and let yourself be heard there. Give me a big old hello in chat if you're here. So let's get this thing flipped over, and then we'll talk about our next steps and our approach for what we're going to do next. All right. If you are just joining us, one thing you may notice is that it is not going to be sitting perfectly flat and unmoving on the ground, and that is not because I didn't do a good job. I totally did a good job. It's that my garage floor is very uneven, and I'm going to have to put levelers on here to level it. There's actually a big slope, too, to this garage. Yeah. This is basically where we're at. This is the base of the bench. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look super pretty right now because it's not painted. It doesn't have a top to it yet. I'm gonna put a little trim on the ends. Just I know it's a workbench, but I want it to look a little bit pretty. Trying to figure out exactly where this is going to be. So I'm just trying to line it up with my table saw, because that's one thing that I intentionally did was by the time I'm done putting the top on, it's going to be not perfectly in line, but just a little bit lower than my table saw. So if I'm cutting something, and I do need to make an outfeed table for this, but if I'm cutting something long, it can actually feed onto this workbench, and it's not going to be perfectly in line, but it can provide a little bit of extra support so that pieces aren't falling off and, causing problems further down. So, yeah, that's one thing. I'm just trying to line it up a little bit with at least part of my table saw. I don't want to come too far out to the garage. Like, I've got a good amount of space right in here where I can work and like studio space, and I want to maintain that, but I also don't want to push it too close, because I'll show you here, I need a little space to work. I decided what I'm going to do with this workbench here. I was thinking about it. My wife and kids, especially my daughter, they've been doing gardening out back, and they have a little garden box to plant vegetables and stuff and keep it away from the deer. And so I was going to put this out there as like a little potting bench, so they can put tools underneath. There's a little shelf under here. It's a nice bench. I worked hard on it. It was one of the first workbenches it is the first workbench I built, and I didn't really want to get rid of it, but it's too tall. What I really want to do with this space is make like some lower cabinets that are kind of in line with where the top is going to be here. I can set stuff on, make it look nice for a YouTube backdrop, put some cabinets and shelves to, tuck some tools and things behind for storage. But this particular workbench is just not working for me. So I'm like, what am I going to do with this? So I came up with the idea of putting it outside for the girls, for the ladies, to do a little bit of potting bench. Hey, Scott. Oh, I like that idea. Make a diary of your happy memories, another one of sad, mad, etc. Give your kids a record of your memories. That's actually I'm not much of a journal guy or diary guy, but I mean, that can also be, that can be different formats like video or whatever. But yeah, that's not a bad plan. Like keeping records of, just thoughts. That's kind of what I'm going for, honestly. In some way. I don't know if it's a selfish thing, just kind of caring about your legacy, but it's something that's driven men and women through antiquity for centuries and millennia. Is what your legacy. It's what Caesars and emperors and kings and mayors and people have obsessed over for millennia. So I guess why would I be any different as a 21st century dude? But yeah, it's just stuff to think about. I do have some other stuff I want to sort of check out on here, but before I do anything, I need to clean up a bit. Next steps. I know I had put feet on here and trim, but I think I'm going to change the order a little bit. So I've installed the frames. Actually, let's go ahead and check that off our list here. I've installed the frames, and right here, X that out. I'm actually going to do the trim, I think, later, because I don't know. I'm going to paint the box. I'm going to paint the body of the box. I don't know if I'm going to paint the trim, or if I'm going to do like a wood grain wood look with some nice hardwood. I want to do the top first, and then whatever I have around the side for the top, I'll do for the trim for the base. So I may end up doing that afterwards. In fact, I'm just going to move this down. The feet, honestly, I don't know. I don't think this is going to need feet. The levelers I was looking at are actually like side attachments, kind of. So they, I was on Rockler's website, and I was looking at some wet glue there somewhere. I was on Rockler's website, and I was looking at, they have some leveler feet that can actually attach to the side here, and that would probably be better because it would widen out the feet on there and probably provide a little more stability, I think. But I'll figure that out. So I don't think I'm going to make chunkier feet. If I make feet in here, it's not going to contact the ground, so it's going to be kind of pointless anyway. And I feel there's enough bracing and strength in here that I'm not really going to need anything beefier than that, most likely. I really don't. So yeah, let's go ahead and take feet off the list. Sometimes I just have to talk it out. Like I know I was talking to you guys, but really I was kind of talking to myself. Like, oh, do I need the feet? No, well, that's probably not necessary. So we'll take the feet off, which means that our next steps are going to be primer and paint. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one because obviously I'm going to need a little time in between. So what might be the best option is I'll probably want to prime it today and then paint tomorrow. So tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be the last weekday of spring break. Not that I can't work on this other times, but well, no matter what I do, I'm going to have to clean up a little bit because I got a lot of sawdust on the floor. So let's start with that and see how we feel. We can talk about life some more if y'all want to while I'm sweeping. Take some of my cords out of the corner here and sweep under there. It's a cleanup time. Sweep up time. Holy moly. We'll get over here too while I'm at it. Yeah, it was a pretty big trip realizing that last year when I cleaned everything out, realizing just how much stuff I was holding on to for really no reason other than I didn't want to give it away. I threw away a bunch of like little trinkets and tchotchkes I was holding on from high school and college. And I was like, I haven't gotten into these boxes in years, and they don't mean anything to me anymore. You know, they don't. And it's not something that it's like I've saved for my kids either. Just little dumb things I end up getting rid of. You can't hang on to all that stuff. I mean, you can, but unless you got a purpose for hanging on to it. Now, my wife, she hung on to a lot of her old vintage My Little Ponies. She was a big My Little Pony girl, and she's been giving some of that stuff to my daughter, who really got into the new My Little Pony, the sort of like anime cool My Little Pony, because, reboots and everything. Yeah, gotta clean the floor. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. But she started getting my daughter into some of the vintage My Little Pony stuff, like her old blanket and things. My daughter loves it, so that makes sense. And with like old video games, well, I have that little Nintendo, the little Raspberry Pi Nintendo NES Classic that they sold a while back. I have one of those, so my son gets to play all the old games, or at least most of the good ones. So he gets to play those. And I mentioned yesterday he just saved up enough money to buy Mario Maker 2. So he's been going crazy playing Mario Maker 2. He loves his Mario Legos, by the way. Loves Mario Legos. But I like him playing with stuff like that, because I played with Legos growing up. They're really good. They teach you a lot about just building and manipulating physical objects, which it leads to things like this. It's not just a franchise. It's not just a game or a toy. It leads into physical things. Which is cool, which is why I like it and why we're happy to get him Mario Legos, because there's benefits to that. There's dividends that pay out with his life. He's going to have a better understanding of stuff. I get my daughter and my son interested in the tools that I'm using. Not that I'm trying to get them to be carpenters or woodshop teachers or anything, but so that they can be more creative and they can think in terms of 3 dimensions and power tools and torque and turning, and they can have the confidence to be like, oh yeah, I think I understand how this thing works, or this new thing. I get a lot of kids in school who, it's not their fault, but they've never used power tools before, and maybe they were kind of put in the class by their counselor. Their counselor's like, oh yeah, woodshop's really great. We don't have anywhere else to put you. And so they stick them in a wood shop, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really want to be here. I'm scared of the tools. I don't really understand how things get put together. Not their fault. They've just never had to do that. They've never had to be in that sort of situation where they have a hammer and something to hit with it. And so they either do one of two things. They either freeze up because they don't want to do something wrong and hurt themselves, which is fine. I don't mind if they're a little too scared. I can work with that. Or they take a tool and just start smacking everything with it. It's usually the boys versus girls, but it's not always. And that presents its own set of challenges, of course. But you can always tell the kids who have never had the experience of working with tools or building things or playing with Legos. The kids who play with the Legos, if you're a parent or if you're going to be a parent someday, in my opinion, one of the best toys you can get your kids playing with is Legos. Like, I'm not even joking. Legos are amazing. Or anything, similar to Legos. Nice thing about Legos is, some of the off-brand things, still end up working with the Legos. Or kids will find ways to play with all of their toys. But Legos are so awesome. And you don't need, like, the fancy, expensive Star Wars sets. Like, you can get just, the big bucket of pieces. And kids will put things together. They will. It builds their imagination. It gets them thinking about, well, hey, if I stack things this way, it's stronger. If I stack it this way, it's weaker. Like, if you play with Legos, you know what I'm talking about. If you build two walls and you butt them up where the joints, have like a straight line down, you put them like this, okay, then the walls are going to fall apart because they're not attached to each other, right? They're not as strong. But if you build your walls so that they interlock like a brick pattern, then they support each other, okay? And that is a concept which, that's an engineering concept. That's a concept that they've used in woodworking for centuries, for millennia. That's called a box joint, okay? That's called a box joint or a finger joint. In fact, my students have been learning about that these past couple weeks. And I actually have something like this. I have a similar concept going here on the top. Okay. Let me focus you guys here a bit. So I've got something similar right here, where the way that I designed this, I've actually staggered the joints a little bit to provide just a little bit more support on these corners. So instead of having this piece go all the way to the end here, which and what that would do is basically create mean that these two pieces end at the same spot, and that would be just a straight line through. So if I applied too much force on this corner, like kicked it or ran my truck into it or something, then I have one straight line through, and that can break through really easy. But this way, what I did was I have it staggering a little bit. So there's this staggered pattern here. It makes this sort of L shape, or kind of like that Tetris piece, that Z shape or whatever. Okay, so it makes this staggered pattern instead of this line going straight through with these pieces terminating in the same spot. It creates a staggered pattern. It creates a little bit more strength there. Okay, and that's a minor detail. For something like this, it may not be that important, but if I was using this concept to build a house, for example, yeah, I would not, you typically don't want to have your joints line up in a perfectly straight line. You want to have some stagger to it when you put things together. So when I'm designing this frame, I'm intentionally making it so that this piece is long and goes all the way to the end, and then this piece is short and terminates right here. So they get that stagger pattern. So, and that's something that I learned from playing with Legos as a kid. I didn't learn that from a master woodworker. I didn't learn that from my dad or my grandfather or anything. I learned this. I learned this concept from playing with Legos. I'm not even kidding. I am not even kidding. Not even a little bit. Let's get us focused back on the room here. That's pretty good. So, yeah, if you have kids or you're going to have kids or you're thinking about having kids or someday have kids, Legos. Legos are the best thing. If you want to get them an understanding of how things fit together. And even if they end up being an accountant or a librarian or a veterinarian, having an understanding of mechanical processes and just a better concept of how pieces fit together, that's going to help them. Even if those pieces are abstract, they're going to be a lawyer. Hey, guess what? You have to fit pieces of a story together. You have to fit pieces of concepts, of logic together. And the thing about this world is there's a lot of analogies that can be drawn. And so between the physical world and, abstract logical concepts, right? So the lessons that you pick up playing with Legos might help you win a court case someday. I don't know. I don't know. Couldn't hurt. So, anyway. A bit of scrap wood here. I'll just set this aside. Okay, guys. Let's clean some of this stuff up. Make sure I put some things away that I know I'm not going to be using for a bit. That glue, we'll leave that there. Glue brush away. Put the drill away. See, that's why you come to these live streams. You come for the builds, you stay for the life lessons. I think. Thinking someday it'd be cool to start a podcast just for the sake of getting some of this stuff out of my head. Okay, all right. Let's put this aside. Shirt over here. Oh, this is my shirt from the other day. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. We already kind of talked about how this is going to go here. You show up for a trial, start talking about Legos, and wonder why you get fired. Maybe. I don't see the downside. All right, so I'm probably not going to be using this stool, and then also this bench that's actually really close right behind me. When I get rid of this and I build out some cabinets, the cabinets I'm only going to have come out maybe like 12 to 14 inches, like a bookshelf depth. Actually, how much space do I have back here? This is where I start thinking about, my future plans. Okay, that's 20 inches to the wall. Okay, so if I go to 14, that's going to be right to here, or even 12 to 14. Let's say 14 total, maybe 12 depth on the inside. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I could do a backless shelf. That might be nice, because then and show off some of the wall. I can attach it directly to the wall, make it sort of like a floating shelf sort. That would be cool. That'd be really cool. So if I take it back to, let's say 14 inches, it's going to be back right about here. Okay, so I'd have plenty of room for, turning around and moving. And also move this back a little bit. yeah, probably center it with where my table saw is at. And this stool is just a shop stool. I don't know if it's kind of the right height for what I want. But I don't know. Might just do a gaming chair or a task stool or something. So this is actually this is not too bad. So I get a little foot space in here. I'm gonna have some slats down in here to like actually rest my foot on and kick around it. That'll also increase the weight a little bit, which is gonna help. And then the work surface, we're gonna be up 2¼ inches off of here. So right about at this spot here. So that'll be my work surface where I can do whatever I want. I can sit here. I'm just imagining like setting up my laptop here and doing some streaming, some gaming, camera. I can set my camera and tripod up on the other side. And then, Twitch drops are up. Oh yeah, it's 11, so force wipe is probably happening. Yeah, I can set my camera up over on this side and do like some talking head videos, vlogging, stuff like that. And then the workbench itself is actually going to come out on the sides quite a bit. I think I planned it for around 12 inches out or something. Let me let's actually pull up SketchUp and see where we're at. Yeah, I saw some of the Twitch drops. I haven't seen all of them. That wood door, though, that seems a little sketch. Okay. Let me get SketchUp. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so this side doesn't count because it's actually an extra attachment. So 13.5 inches. So 12 to here, and then another 1.5 piece on the end. So that's going to be a carrot knife. That's awesome. Stab people with a carrot. Be hilarious. Yeah, so on the front and back, we're kind of at only about 3 inches, so it's not that much. And then a little spacer. So what this is going to do in here, I have on the table, I'm going to have like an extra spacer here, and that's going to help just solidify the worktop onto this piece. I don't know if it has to be this big, probably doesn't. But this apron here is just going to provide a little apron. I don't even know if I'm going to do an apron, like a drop down this much. I mean, I could do it on the end for the sake of having a vise, but honestly, it's probably just going to get in the way more than anything. So I don't know if I'm going to do an apron, to be honest with you. I'll have to think about it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. They do look nice, but they get kind of annoying when you have to clamp something to it, because you have to clamp much wider than necessary. So I don't know this, because I have this dropping down like 4.5 inches. I did that because of this end vise here, which I think was going to be. I can always add an apron later. I mean, it's not. I can bolt it in. It won't look as good, but I can do that. Not that big a deal. No, we'll file that under. We'll figure it out, sort of thing. But anyway, the point was that a carrot like that. Point is, we're coming out about 12 inches from here. So on each side, we're going to be about 12 inches. So 12 inches there, plus a little extra for the vise, and then. 45 would be 57 to there. So yeah, that's about going to be the overall width of this workbench, which is going to be pretty respectable. By the time it's all put together, it's basically going to be a 60-inch workbench if I include the trim. if I put a little apron on there, which I might. Or I might just flush it up with the edge of the workbench. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, a 60-inch workbench basically overall. And then we'll come out another 3 inches front and back. So about a 30-inch work surface front to back, and then side to side 60. So 30 by 60. So 1-to-2 ratio, which is, for a small garage like this, 30 by 60 workbench that's going to work for me because I want to do a lot of hand tool stuff. I'm going to need a vise on the end, so I'm going to have a vise on this end, and then I'm also going to have so that's going to be an end vise, and then I'm going to have a front vise on this end, so I can kind of stand off to the side. See, this comes out 13.5 inches. So I'll have a little room I've got my garage door right here. I'll have a little room to sort of scoot by in front here when I have the garage door closed. That's kind of an important thing. And then I'll have some room where I can cut something off the end off of my end vise right here. For the workbench itself, I'm still kind of going back and forth on how I want to make the top, whether I want to do plywood or like a laminated boards together. Just really depending on a lot of factors here. Trying to figure out what I want to do with that. But most likely, since it's got to have some thickness to it, it's going to be about 2.25 inches thick. I'm probably going to take that project into work and just because I've got some big boy tools there. I got like a big joiner and planer and bigger table saws and stuff. So that I may need more power for that kind of project. So I probably won't do that on live stream, but I may take my camera in and do a video for the top part. Just because I do want to document this stuff and show you guys what I'm working on. And when I'm done with all this process, you guys have seen my SketchUp plans. I'll make my SketchUp plans available when this is all done. Probably at whatever the last reveal video is for this project. I am going to prime this probably today, but I'm kind of running out of steam right now. I've got some other things I need to do and take care of. Okay, so servers are wiped. Cool. Yeah, I probably won't be hopping on right now. Well, maybe. I don't know. I am going to be finishing up the stream here, though. I'll probably prime this off stream later tonight because it's just painting. You guys probably don't need to see that, but I will be painting this tomorrow. I just have to get it primed first because I can't prime it and then paint over it while it's still wet. It just isn't going to work that way. Are you guys going to hop on and play Wipe right now or no? Or are you guys in school? I might hop on Discord here. Yeah, just send me a message on because I've got some other things to do today, but I can kind of go back and forth a little bit. If you guys want to get me on Discord or message me on Discord and let me know when you're playing, then I might be able to pop in a little bit. So just let me know. All right. Okay. I think we're gonna call it today, folks. We got some folks in. Actually, we did better than yesterday. That's pretty good. I like that. All right, guys. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it for today. We still went for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I thought we were going to do a shorter stream. It's only shorter by about 20 minutes, but yeah, we did pretty good. So yeah, I'll probably try and get some primer done on this tonight off stream. And I got some chalk paint we'll do for painting tomorrow. And that's about it, guys. That's going to finish it up for today. So, catch you guys later.